For this assignment, I'd like you to draw a plant, and it can be any plant with a bunch of leaves, flowers, branches, as long as it's not super simple like a cactus or something. The main thing to look for here is some of those leaves should be protruding towards you and some should be kind of receding into the background. So you should have a kind of foreground and background within the plant itself. I'm starting this drawing with a 2H pencil, and I'm only spending approximately a minute on my initial gesture drawing. After you're done with your gesture drawing, you can spend some more time getting the proportions right, making sure the negative space looks correct, using organizational lines, measuring, all those things we've covered in the past when talking about contour drawings. Once you're done with your initial pencil drawing, make sure all of the eraser shavings are off of the paper so that they don't clog your pen. And then you'll be using the brush pen for this drawing. First, I'm adding all of the contours just like any other contour drawing we've done in the past. So there's really nothing special about this drawing. It's a typical contour drawing where the leaves are outlined and I'm adding just a few of those major details that I see. I'm going to add the depth cues later, but for now, the contour drawing is just there to kind of guide me and provide a template for the finished piece. While I'm completing this part, I'm still looking at the plant and making sure that things are in the right place. If something looks like it's off, I'm moving it slightly or adding some of those subtle curves and things that I see. And I'm going to fast forward through this a little bit. You don't need to watch me do the entire drawings from start to finish. This is something we've covered in the past, so it should be relatively easy to complete. Now that I have my contour drawing, the first thing I'm going to do with the depth cues is to find all of the leaves that are protruding into the foreground, that are basically advancing towards me, and make sure that those lines are heavier. And then that leaf that's in the center of the paper facing me, the point of that leaf is closest to me, so I'm making that thickest or heaviest. And then I'm making those lines kind of recede and get thinner and thinner as they go back. So I've covered line weight as the first depth cue, and now I'd like to go over detail. In this case, I've decided to add the veins on all the leaves first, not as a detail, but just as part of the leaf structure. So it's not something I added initially, but then I changed my mind and decided, no, that should have been in the initial contour drawing. So I'm adding those veins in all of the leaves, whether they're in the foreground or background. Once I'm done with that, I'm adding detail. And what that means is all those little variegations and patterns on the leaves I'm going to draw them on all of the leaves, but I'm going to pay special attention to the leaves that are in the foreground and add a lot more and get a lot more precise with those. And then the ones that are in the background, I'm going to add just a few details, but not really cover the whole leaf. This is another one of those situations where it wouldn't make sense for you to watch me draw everything, every little line and speck. So I'm going to speed this up again. And once I get to that leaf in the background, I'll slow it down again, just so you can see exactly what I'm doing there. I'll go ahead and slow this back down so you can see what I'm doing on that leaf that's furthest away from me. Since that leaf is in the background, I'm going to add the least amount of detail there. I'm not going to omit the detail completely because I'd like for the leaf to be recognizable and so you can see that there are some kind of patterns and something going on. But I'm going to do it very lightly with just a few gestures and not really add all of it. And then those two leaves at the top are kind of in the middle ground, so they're going to have some detail, but maybe not quite as much as the leaves that are right in front of me. This second depth cue can be applied to a lot of different things. So if you're drawing a landscape that has, let's say, trees in it, you can add more of the individual leaves on the trees that are close to you and less of them in the background. Same goes with bricks or grass or any kind of texture in your drawing. You can always pay more attention to what's in the foreground and make sure every single brick or every single blade of grass is there, and then add less and less in the background. We're going to cover more depth cues in the future with value studies and color, but for a simple contour drawing, these are the two that will be most helpful.